Hi, I'm Ken Brown, CEO of Destiny Global, and welcome to this edition of Success Tips. Thank you for joining me tonight. Obviously, this is something that a series of teachings that we love to do, that Jackie, Carmen, and I are committed to do to help you make better decisions. And it's so amazing tonight, I'm actually teaching on the law of decision, which is a bit crazy. But why do we want to talk about the law of decision and making decisions? Foundation, right? So what are your foundational choices that you are making that affect your life? You see, when I started back in business many years ago, we won't go how many years ago it was, I'll tell you. So I started in 1989. And in 1989 was when I had graduated college. I'd been recruited to EDS, and the process of even being hired, there was a series of decisions. And kind of the power of decision, because one decision can change the whole course of your life. You see, I had several different choices to make, and I had to get a process, or I learned a process actually, that helped me arrive at a good decision versus a not as good decision. You see, all of us have choices, and they really arrive to this choice mechanism that you come to that I call goodwill versus God's will. And God's will is His perfect divine, where you're aligned with Him and really accomplishing what you have a passion inside you to do. And when you follow that, you will start beginning to see things fall off you, because you're starting to not focus on the things that drag you back. You're starting to focus on the things that pull you forward and ahead. And that's what I want to talk to you about this evening. So, first of all, this teaching comes from Dani Johnson, who is our founder of the company, along with her husband, Hans. This is the First Steps to Wealth. Now, we actually have a teaching called First Steps to Success. It actually could have been called First Steps to Wealth, except that when you go through all of your advertising agencies and messaging, the word wealth gets taken out, and so all your ads get taken down. But the reality, First Steps to Success, that's a mouthful. First Steps to Success is taught right from this book. So if you don't have this book, I want you to get it. Go to our website, destinyglobal.com, and go get it. Why? Because it's worth the read. April and I read this with our daughter every single night. She's actually reading it to us, and we go through it and discuss it. And it is truly life-changing when you go through section by section. There's value. Obviously, in attending First Steps, what I call getting the fire hose to really force you to get some decisions in your head that you can do things, right? It's not necessarily about your mindset. It's about negative thinking that affects your mindset, right? Because we all think we can do things, but the reality of the situation is sometimes we get stuck in a situation where we don't know what decision to make. So today we're going to dig into this really deep, and we're going to find out how to make good decisions together. So I want to read this to you because I just couldn't say it any better. Put my glasses on so I can read it correctly. So in the book, it's the law number 11, the law of decision. It says, when I was looking at weight loss products, and this is, of course, Dani Johnson herself, when I was looking at weight loss product in the backseat of my car, I had a decision to make. That is how I started in business. I decided that I did not want to be broke and miserable anymore. I decided to change my life. Now, it's interesting. Dani could have chosen to go back and be a bartender and a waitress, but she wanted something where she felt she could be more in control and actually control her income instead of going and waiting tables, going through all the hassle of that, and plus all the bad habits that she had developed in her job as a waitress and bartender. She was eating things and she was drinking things. She was hanging out with a crowd that wasn't really helping her move forward. And so she had looked in the back seat of her car, and she had received a weight loss product that she could then resell, part of a company that did that. And lo and behold, she figured out that she was going to try to sell that, right? And the same thing is going to be true for you. At some point, you're reaching a decision that you have to decide, am I going to reach for something different? Or am I going to continue to do the same thing and then complain about it over and over again, right? Well, my friends aren't good. My job's not good. What are you doing about it? What are you doing about it? What skills are you willing to go get to change the trajectory of your life? So as you start thinking about decisions, I said this when I started, we're one decision away from something that can radically change our life. My decision was to join EDS. I had other job opportunities, other things to do, and I had to weigh the choices, right? This involved a commitment, a 2-year commitment, things of it, and if you didn't pass certain things, you were going to be kicked out. So there was this challenge to it. There was this, almost boot camp kind of mentality going in there. Or the other one was more of a placid job. Hey, you can come sell homes and do this, and maybe I would have been okay at that. But it wasn't my passion. See, my goal at that time was to learn from a leader who had what I wanted, which was Ross Perot. Now, Ross didn't stay at the company that long after I joined because he had already sold the company to General Motors. He was on his way out. However, he had instituted so much foundational teaching into the company that was into its training programs that his legacy lived long, long, long after he was gone. And of course, there were other great leaders such as Jeff Heller, who was my mentor, the president of the company, that was just a phenomenal human, equal to Ross in many ways. The difference with Ross, though, is he would make decisions based on what would bring the greater or bigger impact. And I want you to think about that for a minute. He would make a decision that would bring a greater impact to people. Now, some of us get stuck because we become intimidated when we begin to see this. And you don't really lean on people that help you make the decision. You just back off and shy away. Oh, that's not going to be a good idea. I don't even really want to think about that anymore. I'm going to go the easy road. Some of you need to make the hard decision, make the hard choices, and take the little tougher road that leads you to a life of freedom and the life that you want. Okay? A lot of you have realized that your life is really comprised of a lot of small decisions that determine the large outcome of your life. It's so crazy how that works. So let me give you an example. Every day I could choose to go to Starbucks and spend my money on a drink and maybe something to eat, because typically if I go there, I do that. It's just what I do. I don't go there very frequently because I've learned I had to change some habits in my life before I would go there. And I would spend, when you talk about going through the war on debt, I had so much fat. April and I had so much fat in our in our monthly income. I was just going, because I went to Starbucks every day, sometimes twice a day, and sometimes I'd take employees with me, right? And the fact is that we were ripping through $1,500, maybe even $2,500 in fat and just in eat out stuff. I'm ashamed to tell you that, but it's the truth. We did, and I didn't think anything about it. Although April, my lovely bride, had consternation about that because she came from a simpler means. She came from a household of a single mom and wanted to make decisions more thoughtful about where we're putting our money. I just had the mentality with my personality, which is I can just make more money, which is a very bad idea. It's a very bad decision. And that is make sure that I'm saving for my future, that I'm impacting. So every day I would spend money on those drinks and things and spend thousands of dollars a month. And I tell you this because we had one period where I was expecting a large check to come in and for a deal that I'd sold, and something happened. There was a part of the contract that it got stuck in. So it ended up not closing on the same time period that I wanted, and I had a lot of bills, taxes due. We'd done some work at the house, we replaced some air conditioning units. It was a major crunch time. And I looked back and realized that these small decisions that I had made radically changed our cash position for that year. And I realized that I had made some foolish decisions, and I realized I needed to change. And of course, I learned that change here at Destiny Global. But I got to tell you something. Those small decisions make huge impacts in your life. It means the difference between being in debt or out of debt. And what does that really mean? Freedom to do what you want, to try new things, right? The more freedom you have, the more unencumbered you are to make a decision to try something maybe a little bit out of the ordinary for yourself, or start that new company, or get a side hustle. Why? Because you have the freedom to do so because you've allowed yourself an opportunity to find success outside of your normal little box. Like if you work in a bank, you're just going to do the banking stuff. I'm just going to do the bank. I'm just going to do this. This is what I'm going to do. You're going to have a limited income. You're going to have a limited things that come from that. Doesn't mean that it's not valuable, because the fact is it can be, as long as you're working to progress yourself in that and gain new skills. But as you do that, you have to make decisions that you're going to do that and improve your skills. Again, a decision. Small decisions every day determine your outcome, right? But in the bank, let's run with this bank example. If you decide you're going to be a teller and that's all you're ever going to be, nothing wrong with being a teller, but you want to progress yourself. Why? To make more money, to better yourself, to better your family. That's how we're wired as people. Regardless of what your personality type is, you want to be successful at what you do. And so that means progression, that you're getting raises, that you're getting recognized. And as you do that, people will give you more responsibility. Why? Because you're learning systems better, you're learning how to communicate with people better, you're increasing the value of the bank because you're taking care of people's needs. You're solving a problem. And all that resulted because you started making decisions to progress yourself. Okay? So you changed your trajectory of your life just by small decisions of gaining new skills, small skills every day. Right? The other side of it is you're just going to work and you're just punching the clock. And you're not devoting yourself to your job. You're not devoting yourself to the things that are going to make a difference for other people every single day. Quite frankly, it becomes selfish because you're just doing things, and that can be self-pity, that can be self-doubt. There can be 1,000 reasons why you do that. But you have to shed those things off and realize that's a decision too. You decided to have that attitude. Uh-oh, Ken, don't take me here. Yes, we are. Because decisions are at the core of what you do every day. When you get out of bed, you have to make a decision that you're going to have a positive attitude. I know there's this old saying. Zig Ziglar used to say this at conferences. He'd say, yeah, I got a call yesterday, and I felt quite good about it because I told them, I woke up and I didn't have a bad attitude. I hadn't cursed that day. I hadn't yelled at the kids or my wife. And then I told the Lord, I said, Lord, now as I get out of bed, help me to keep this attitude going. You see, sometimes that attitude has to be made before we ever roll out of the bed that we're going to have a good day, because the decision to do that is going to be between your ears. It's going to be how you're letting the outside world affect you. Now, I'm not telling you that can't be a difficult thing to do, because some of us are faced with very difficult things and situations in our life at different points, and that can be really hard. And sometimes it's physical. You're going through a physical change, you're going through a physical problem, and it can really affect your attitude and mood. Really try to work on your attitude, the mindset that you bring to it. Are you having stinking thinking, or are you going to have a positive mindset about what it is? Because these mindsets are really what affect your decisions. You see, there's a method to my madness of what I'm talking to you about right now. All of your decisions are going to be based off your belief system and your attitude. And whether you believe someone, do you trust someone that's trying to help you reach that decision? Someone recruiting you from a new job, somebody trying to get you to buy a car, every day you are inundated with decisions. You're inundated, you're invited to 1,000 things on Facebook to attend. Should I attend this? Should I not attend that? Some of you are making good decisions, some of you may not be, right? Some of you are getting counsel from people that may not be equipped to do what they actually say they're equipped to do. It's tax season right now. Think about it. Do you have a CPA helping you with their taxes? What does a millionaire and a billionaire do? What do? I have a CPA that looks at my taxes inside and out to save me the most money. I go to someone that's certified, that I trust, that I know is not trying to take me down a path to sell me something else, but literally focused on that. Is they're wholly dedicated to helping people achieve their financial freedom and making sure that they're paying their taxes fairly, but at the same time getting the biggest returns possible. All of these things are relevant, especially right now, it's tax season. But think about even more than that. Think about your decisions at Christmas. Some of you celebrate Christmas. Some of you celebrate other holidays. Or in special times of the year where you feel almost guilty for not doing certain things because of decisions and attitudes that have been placed on you, that you decide to go in debt every single year for Christmas. How do I know this? Because I would. What do you mean in debt? Well, I had money, but I was still putting it on the credit card. And most of the time I'd spend so much that I didn't pay it off that month. It'd take me 3 more months to do it. Then I paid interest and all the things that went with that, right? That's the fact of the matter. So your attitude affects your decisions. So as you make decisions, be sure that you count the cost, right? The cost of making that decision versus doing something versus not doing something is really what it amounts to. Did you pray about it? First of all, did you seek wise counsel? Because you're going to find all this written in the greatest book ever written called the Bible, and in the book of Proverbs specifically. It tells you to go seek wise counsel before you make decisions, right? Count the cost. What's it going to cost me to do this? What's the benefit of it? What's the result? Is there other people that are getting results that they talk about it? Where's the testimonies? Where's the results? Show me results. You'll get my attention, right? But you have to show me the results first. I kind of look at this because April and I are talking about doing this program that our other trainer that the reality is she does this exceptionally well. The O'Quinns are just gifted people, but I got to tell you something. Carmen's transformation, she is a true transformation coach. She's helped people lose, literally, I'm sure, combined thousands of pounds, maybe millions. I don't know. This girl is fantastic. This woman is gifted in this area. And a lot of it is emotional release, getting you to make better decisions. It's a lot of first steps taught through a program, but really taking taking your physical body and transforming it into something healthy. You don't even recognize yourself. In fact, we have a client, Mary Star Carter. I look at her, goodness gracious, she left 50 pounds of herself in 2021. In 2022, she's 50 pounds lighter than she was. She's got that on her post. So, shout out to my folks for living and making right decisions. Well, there was a decision that Mary Star had to go through to make that decision. And just like April and I are going to have to make a decision about, hey, we're really looking at getting ourselves to the next level of fit. So we might be, applying to do this thing. If Carmen would do it. Maybe she will, maybe she won't. We might even qualify. Ken, are you going to do this? Are you going to stop eating all those tacos? I mean, in that movie, Jack Black, I forget the name of the show, Nacho Libre. I love his line he says, I want to be super fit, but I love tacos, okay? The fact is, we have amazing tacos, and it sneaks their way into the office occasionally, and you just can't eat those all the time and expect yourself going to lose weight. You just have to work to maintain the weight that you're at, but you got to do something different. I have to make a certain set of decisions to make sure that I keep and stay healthy, right? The same thing is true in your spiritual life. Am I making time and decisions to grow spiritually? Am I growing in my marriage because I'm taking time to invest with your spouse? Am I spending time with my children? Am I helping my fellow employees? Am I making decisions that every day improve my life? At the beginning of 2022, April and I made a decision together that we were really going to focus on decisions that we were making literally every day, the small ones, not just the big ones, the small ones. And am I holding myself accountable to really live out what I teach you? Am I watching myself on War and Debt? Am I watching myself on Time Secrets and making sure that I'm doing this? Am I approaching people in their gym and not trying to just give them my attitude and my perspective? But literally thinking about every decision I'm making, not harboring on it, not laboring on it, but thinking through it to make sure that I'm making the best decision that I feel is appropriate at the time. And if it's something I need help on, ask it. Ask. You're going to find people around you, but go to people that are qualified. Quit asking people that don't have skill who you want to be like. That's your first question. I wanted to be like Ross Perot, right? Still working to be like that. If I accomplish 1/3 what that man did, it's crazy. The lives he changed. Now I get to stand behind in front of this camera and, be on this side of it, where before I was sitting in the audience and get the chance to talk to you and share with you. This is one of the greatest privileges of my life. And to even think I would be here, right? Leaving corporate America. But the reality of the situation is find people who you really want to be, not pretending to be. Imposters, and we have a world full of them. Successes, not in business. Successes, not in really the core things that they're trying to teach you on. Go to people with skill. Go to people that you know you can go validate their resume, their background. Did it happen? Is it true? Don't get suckered in following the things. Make good decisions. Would you buy a new car from a junk salvage lot? No, you wouldn't. You know why? Because you want someone that you can trust, that's going to help you. So as you begin to think through this, I want you to take these decision-making process seriously. Why? Because it affects every part of your life. It is one of the smallest sections in this book with the most impact of all the other laws we teach. The law of decision. Think about it. Pray about your decisions. Count the cost and then commit. And when you commit, go all in. Don't do it halfway. Don't you go back to that thing of buyer's remorse. Oh, I don't know if I should have done this. When you make the decision to do it and you've really thought through it, commit to doing it, right? Proverbs 16:3, commit your works to the Lord and he will establish your steps. Commit it and go. And when you do that, you're going to be blessed. Get people around you that encourage you. Make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people that help you make good decisions. And you know who those are. You know who those aren't. Just like Danny did back here in the beginning of her book. She had to make a decision. Was she going to launch out and try to go sell this weight loss product in the back of her car that literally changed her life? Think about it. Versus going back to the job where she was hanging out with people that she shouldn't have been hanging out with. That were a terrible influence on her. Eating things that she shouldn't eat. Drinking things constantly, right? Being exposed to things that she didn't need. So you count the cost. You think about your life based on the steps of small decisions that you make. And so I wish you the best as you approach the rest of this year and you commit to decisions. I ask that you make this one decision. I ask that you join me at First Steps to Success, April 29th through May 1st. I will be there and I will be ready to invest in you. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.